Okay, let's get right into it. For the longest time, creating really slick, high-end motion graphics, that was something reserved for experts. People with super complex software and tons of time on their hands. But that's all changing. A totally new AI workflow is here, and it's making cinematic quality animation something that pretty much anyone with an idea can do. Just take a look at this. This isn't just a simple graphic, it's a complex, 3D-inspired map animation. Not too long ago, making something that looked this polished, even if you had all the pieces ready to go, would take a professional animator days of work. Seriously, it was a huge barrier, needing special tools and a ton of experience. But what if I told you that entire animation, everything you just saw, was created in less than an hour using AI? I mean, that is a massive leap. This kind of power is faster and way more accessible than ever before, and in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how it all works. So how in the world do you get from just a thought in your head to a beautiful flowing animation? Well, the secret isn't some crazy complicated code. It's actually a surprisingly simple two-part workflow. Let's look at the core engine that makes all of this possible. Honestly, it really just boils down to this. First, you create two pictures, a start image and an end image. This is where your animation begins, and this is where it stops. Then, you just feed both of those images to an AI video tool and tell it, hey, create the animation between these 2 points. That's the basic idea. Pretty simple, right? So what's actually in the creator's toolkit here? Well, the source material points to using an AI image editor, in this case one built right into Google Gemini, to make those start and end frames. Then for the animation part, you use dedicated AI video tools to do all the heavy lifting. Oh, and here's a pro tip. Using an image upscaler is a really crucial step if you want those super crisp, high-res results. Okay, so let's start with a really practical example, something almost anybody could use. We're talking about taking boring, static info and making it come alive, making it dynamic and engaging. And wow, this just shows the power perfectly. On the left, you've got your standard, everyday bar chart. It works, but it's pretty forgettable. On the right, that's the AI version. It's this sleek, futuristic infographic that looks like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. I mean, a single change like this can make any presentation or video way more compelling. So you're probably wondering, what kind of genius-level command did it take to get that? Get this. It was just this simple conversational phrase, make this graph look cooler and more futuristic. It just goes to show you don't need to be some kind of coding wizard. The AI can actually understand creative ideas from just plain English. And this technique isn't just for data visualizations. The exact same idea works for educational stuff too. You can take a regular diagram, like this one of a rhino, create a second frame that's zoomed in on a detail, and the AI will generate a smooth, clean animation between them. It's perfect for drawing your viewer's eye exactly where you want it to go. All right, so we've animated data. Let's kick it up a notch. We're going to move on to something with a bit more style, recreating that cool cinematic parallax effect you see in high-end documentaries, for that sweeping landscape widescreen feel. For a scene with Alan Turing, the process got a little more hands-on. First, the AI was used to generate all the separate pieces, Turing himself, the desk, the background. Now, the key thing here is the AI couldn't quite put them together right, so step 2 was a quick manual fix in Photoshop. Once they were layered correctly, that became the start and end point for the animation. And check out step 4. One AI tool didn't work, so they just switched to another one that did. It's all about being flexible. The final touch? Some cool cinematic effects to really sell that documentary vibe. So the big takeaway here is that this wasn't some magic one-click process. It was a partnership. The AI did the grunt work of generating all the parts, but it still needed a human's creative eye and problem-solving skills to pull it all together just right. That's where the creator's actual vision shines through. And now, for the main event, let's dig into the most impressive feat from the source material, creating these stunning, complex, 3D-inspired map animations that make it feel like you're literally building a world from scratch. So here you have a simple, flat 2D trail map on one side, and on the other, a gorgeous atmospheric animation. The map has been totally restyled to look like old parchment. It has this subtle 3D feel to it, and the animation smoothly reveals the final destination. This isn't just showing you information, it's telling you a story. And again, what was the secret to getting this incredible style? It wasn't some long, complicated code. It was this part of the prompt. Just telling the AI to restyle everything as aged parchment with subtle 3D relief was enough to define the entire look and feel. That's a huge takeaway for anyone who wants to try this themselves. Now let's talk about that really complex map of France. To put things into perspective, the source material says that if you gave a skilled professional animator all the completed assets, it would still probably take them 3 to 5 full days of work to create an animation with this level of polish. With this AI workflow, less than 1 hour. Let that sink in. That is an absolutely massive leap in efficiency. The power to create and try out ideas this complex, this quickly, it's a total game changer, especially for solo creators. So, this all sounds pretty incredible, right? Maybe a little too incredible. Is this really a magic button that's going to replace professional animators overnight? Well, let's bring things back down to earth for a reality check and talk about what the future really looks like. Yeah, the source material is very clear that this is not a perfect, flawless system. The AI can get stuck and just keep giving you the wrong image over and over. It's not great with specifics, like trying to get the Eiffel Tower in the right spot on the map of France. And that means you often have to pop into programs like Photoshop to fix things by hand. It's a process of trial and error and a lot of creative problem solving. So the absolute best way to think about this workflow is not as a replacement for a person, but as a super-powered assistant. It takes care of the really tedious, time-sucking parts of the job, which frees up the human creator to focus on the big picture, the story, the creative direction, and fixing those little problems that always come up. It's a tool that empowers, not replaces. And all of this leaves us with a really exciting question for the future. As these incredible tools get easier and easier to use, the power to create beautiful, cinematic worlds is no longer locked away in big studios. It's being put into the hands of everyone. So when anyone and everyone can build their own worlds, what amazing new stories are we finally going to see?